Here's the budgeting rule that helped me live off of my savings for 2 years after school. Now, the budgeting rule I use is the 50-30-20 way. If you're going to use the 50-30-20 budget rule, it means 50 is going to go to your needs. That's things like your rent, if you're paying rent, your transportation, your data, your feeding, things like that. Any of that commitment that is a compulsory monthly based need, 50% goes to that. Then 30% goes to your wants, meaning you want a bag or to give somebody, maybe your friends for birthdays and things like that. You want to spend the night out, you want to travel. That is a want. It goes into 30%. 20% goes into your savings, investments, and debts. If you don't have any debt, kudos, good for you. You just have savings and investments left. Now, this is not a law on a stone. Does that make sense? You can do it however you like, but at least save the least 10%. Does that make sense? The least 10%. I've also heard of 5 jars. It is the budgeting system for the Jews. I recently heard of that last year and I was like, wait, it's practically the same thing as the 50-30-20 rule. I was like, I'm on track. The 5 jars is basically tithe, 10%, giving another 10%, savings 20%, if I'm correct. I'm going to put it on screen, forgive me. Investment 10%, and then expenses 50%. How many is that? Here's why I say it is practically the same as the 50-30-20 rule. Tithe can be classified as a want, but I put my tithe as a need. Then giving is obviously a want, so it's added, that's 20 now in wants. Then investment is classified as a want too in this category in the 5 jars. That's what I'm explaining right now. You can say that is wants for 30%. Does that make sense? Then expenses, that's our needs, obviously, is already 50%. Does that make sense? Then savings is 20% already. 20%. As I say, it's practically similar to the to the 50-30-20 rule. They just break it down practically for you. Then you can break it down for that if you like. But me, my tithe is in my expenses because it's the compulsory thing for me to pay tithe. So it's part of my expenses. Then another one I have heard of is the 60-30-10, where 60 is for expenses, 30 is for savings and debt instead. Meaning the person most likely prioritizes savings and debt more than they prioritize their wants. Does that make sense? And then they put 10% for their wants. Now, it all depends on how much you're earning, and it also depends on how comfortable you are with what you have. Does that make sense? Me, I did this on a 40k monthly stipend. I'm sorry, but you don't necessarily have an excuse. Maybe in the next video, I will do how you can budget and have enough to save, living a life with a very tiny salary or stipend or whatever. Guys, see you in the next video.